Well, welcome. Thanks for all coming. It's really nice to see you guys here. I'm Ed Walsh, CEO of a company called ChaosSearch. Actually, we're new to the Databricks ecosystem, but we've been delivering systems at scale for clients for years. I'm going to go through some of that use case. But we're going to talk today about doing expanding log analytics and threat hunting, but doing it natively in Databricks. If you think about it, and I don't think I have to sell this crowd here, but the lakehouse is really foundational data architecture, especially for AI-driven world. And there's a reason for it. And we see the lakehouse architecture really driving forward, especially with all the announcements today, which were really powerful. But also, we see Databricks leading this charge. And there's a reason for it in the AI-driven world. You're able to do something like centralized data, also having governance. Think about the Unity catalog. You're also able to basically bring open data formats together, Delta Lake, but also an open execution engine called Spark. But it's about bringing new use cases together, bringing different groups into one governed data lake or lake house. So, but there are areas where you're not able to do certain workloads, and especially limitations of capabilities, especially around operational analytics. Think log and event data. Think about your teams running operational or observability in the environment, which is like finding out if their systems are up and running, are they being performant, are the things I need to look to in my systems, definition of observability, or in security, making your environment secure. But think log analytics. And what happens is some of the limitations, which we're gonna go through, of what you can do in a lakehouse or in Databricks or any Spark environment comes to bear, and people are forced to keep two different silos. In fact, a lot of times we see Databricks and right next to it will be Elasticsearch cluster or OpenSearch clusters or Splunk or different environments. And they keep the data separate because of the specific use cases and type of queries and tools you need to use for those use cases. So it goes against the whole idea of bringing things together, new workloads, new capabilities, and users together. They're forced to have these different islands, which goes against it. But that's really where ChaosSearch is for years. We basically were built to bring this log analytics, operational analytics to the lake. And as I go through, I'm gonna have one slide of what we do, but then I'm gonna talk about how we're bringing it to Databricks today. And as I talk about what we do, you'll see a lot of architectural and also just how you build out architecture similar to what you do in Databricks, what we've done in our core product for the last couple of years. So if you look at what we've done, and this is our SaaS offering, basically we do Elasticsearch or OpenSearch replacement, which is not a lake environment. They're classic old servers. So you have to do a data pipeline into a rigid schema, and you put data into memory. It's clusters of these systems to be performant, and we replace that with a lake-based environment with stateless compute. So simply stream your data, your log data, anywhere in the world into your object storage. Think Amazon S3, think Google GCS, ... Just simply put it in your environment is a key thing. And from there, we grab that data and we make it available for queries. We make views of the data based on RBACs to different groups, and those views are used by the Elasticsearch API. So you can do your own API calls, like you've always done Elasticsearch or OpenSearch, but also all the tooling works from those environments. So if you're using Kibana, now you can do Kibana directly in Databricks, or OpenSearch dashboards, or Grafana, all those tools will work. In our console, in fact, we include limitless servers for OpenSearch dashboards. So because it's a Apache 2.0 tool, you can use as much as you want. But the key thing is, as users come in, they don't know that the data is just streaming in. They just query the data. So it's really good for observability teams. Again, is your system up and running, troubleshooting different environments, especially microservices or security. But we also see this user insight. If you're tracking app logs from a website, let's say you're a fintech company, these app logs have a whole bunch of business. Yes, it's about observability and security, but also data business. It's the digital footprints of all your clients in the environment. And this data is available live, real time in your environment, and you're able to go after it with different tool sets. So what you see is, listen, we provide live. What we mean by that is literally data's come in around the world. It's in your dashboard. Time to glass is about a minute. And it's on your lake. It's in your object. The storage never leaves your own environment. And in the end, it reduces time, cost, and complexity. They're not lake-based. So if you're used to a lake-based, you understand the thing. They are literally setting up services pipeline into rigid servers and clusters of servers that stand up and stay up. So we save a lot of time of that environment for the team, but also costs. We typically save about 50 to 80% hard dollars. The check you write every single month to your cloud provider for compute, but also the little bit you send to Elasticsearch. But even if you're doing open source completely with no support from Elastic, we're still saving you 50 to 80% pretty consistently. and it ends up being a proven at scale. So some of our examples would be Equifax. In fact, they have a case study on our website saving 90% hard dollars and freeing up their team 25%. Well, other companies like Klarna, big fintech in Europe. We also have security companies like Cisco, different departments, but one really good referenceable one is Talos, which is a security data lake. Databricks sitting right next to what we do. It used to be Databricks sitting right next to Elasticsearch, and now it's our environment. And then also people are embedding this in their environment. So Armor Security or Blackpoint Cyber, up and coming, MDR company that allows them to actually look in their Elasticsearch. We're able to free their team up, save them a lot of money, but not change anything in their overall application. Anyway, enough about what we do. Also, Gartner you don't apply for this, but Gartner gave us a cool vendor status last year. It's kind of, they pick a couple companies in every different industry segment, and so they honored us with last year, but it's really based on the feedback they got from their clients. So this is what we've done for a Databricks audience. Let's say the unique capabilities that we bring to the environment that are going to be required when we come over to Databricks to have this user and this data come over. The first one is efficient text search over telemetry data, and they're looking for the unknowns. They don't know what they're looking for. They're doing wildcard searches. They're trying to find little things, and they're finding out where else things are in the environment. That's a type of search. You can do search in SQL, you can do it in environments, but this type of search is much broader and more powerful, and it's how they think through, and they're searching for unknown unknowns. Second one is really now this is not for infrastructure logs, which are pretty straightforward, but for app logs, think about your developers themselves or third-party applications. We see industry standard, they're going to JSON logs. Why? They're standard, they're self-describing, they're very flexible for your developers, and they're really rich in data. The developers love it because it's flexible. The analytics on it are wonderful, either for the developer or business people, but the guy in the middle keeping this really makes it restrained in these data environments. So you have to be optimized for this live JSON, literally time to glass, something happens in the world, it's in your glass in under a minute. But also, they have very wide and dynamic schemas. It's changing all the time, and I'll talk a little bit about this nested fields that are based upon how people do JSON that are really troublesome, and we handle it pretty simply. But basically, these type of logs, we consistently see, it's not odd to see 10, 20, 30,000 columns. Imagine that as an environment. It's also very dynamic. You want your developers to actually change, to add a new feature, add logging to it. You want a new game environment, new feature set, log it. So the schema is constantly changing. And then the third one is this nested concept. So let's do all these microservices. Let's say you're a fintech. You're going to do hold down periods of 5 minutes or 2 minutes or 1 minute. That means like every 1 minute, you're going to store up all those things nested at whatever user did or whatever activity and ship it off at once, because all the different microservices have to come together. That ends up being really difficult because on June 11th, you might have, in that 1 minute, a handful of transactions. But if you're a Black Friday moment, whatever your industry has it, you could have 30,000 transactions. I'm not exaggerating it whatsoever. And what happens is a log goes from 5 to 30,000 times bigger, and it's at a moment's notice, and that's how you want to do it. So this becomes very challenging for your data analytics team and the data pipeline and managing clusters. We do it seamlessly. In fact, we keep it small, but you can go after all that data very easily. Typically, you're forced to make decisions of not keeping the data, storing it raw. Hopefully no one asked for it, but we allow you to just stream it in, and you get all that rich data for either the observability or the business team. And then really, the key thing we're bringing in is the tool set. This team, the way they think through problems, the way they search for environments, and the tools they use really require this Elasticsearch type of analytic queries, there's full text search, but also they're used to using these tool sets. So if you're gonna bring a team over, hey, I'm gonna bring this in consolidation on my Databricks, these different use cases together, it's great, but you don't want to tell the team, oh, you can't use the same tools, you have to change what you do, or let me teach you this new thing. With us, it's literally bring that data over, here's your same tools, bring your dashboards, it just simply works like it did before, is a key message. And that's what we're really bringing. That app, it's not only the ELK API, but it's also the tool sets that you're used to in these environments. So what we announced today is basically we ported our entire platform to run natively in Databricks. So now what we do is simply stream your data into Delta Lake. We grab that data and we make it available for query. The same views are available, and different users can use it with their ELK API. their dashboards, or they can use the different tools we provide, like OpenSearch dashboards. But also the same views are available to any other use case or any other users. It's in Delta Lake, it's in Unity, so any user can take that same view of this real-time data and they can use SQL on it, or machine learning, or train your LLMs. This is a really good use case for private LLMs to make your job of finding security and observability much easier, and you're able to do that. Also, we ported the application, so all these queries are running 100% in your basically your compute cluster. It's just a job. Our application is a job inside Databricks. So you're able to bring it over. And then so what we like to say is we're bringing log analytics in that specific user, these capabilities that they need, the tools that they need, and these users to Databricks community. But also, you give them the tools they need, because it's one thing to bring the community and say, you guys start new or try something new. It's going to say, and you can keep all the tools you're used to. But then secondly, you're able to say to the same people, I'm also bringing the lakehouse and AI to you guys. You can say, I'm going to give you the same capability. We're going to save the organizations 50 to 80% hard dollars. This ends up being millions of dollars for most Fortune 500 companies. But also, I'm able to give you more data, but I'm also giving you all these tools. Let me show you all these world-class tools that as a Databricks group, you know exactly what that is. Machine learning, think about anomaly detection. Think about all the things you can do with LLMs, all the things you are used to in your environment, or even SQL or notebooks, Python. All these capabilities just open up because the views are available now to do all these. These are not available to them if they're over in OpenSearch. So it's a 1-2 punch. It's an easy thing over. As an organization, you're building out the lakehouse, bringing it all together, consolidating it, but you're giving them what they need to do their job. You're not making them sacrifice and giving up something or relearning something, but you're also giving them a world of unbelievable capabilities that they just don't have currently. And then maybe to wrap it up, and we can take questions, but really in the end, it's about removing the silos. It's basically broadening out the lakehouse. What we're bringing, because we're adding these capabilities, you're going to bring new data. You already do log data in Databricks. That's not an issue, but you end up doing more like the app logs. You end up bringing more things in because some of the data you've done just doing modeling at night, they need more. So you're going to bring more data in. You're still going to see the 50 to 80% because you're going to do away with the entire silo. But then you're also going to add these capabilities. It's the capabilities they need to work and the work they need to do in Databricks, but also, would you like to do a full text search in your Databricks environment? Let's say you're not an observability or security person. There's uses for that. One is very clear. Let's roll these different use cases into one governed data lake, which is really to create the unified and bringing in the right unified solution in the data lake. And the lakehouse is the perfect fit for this. But you need to have these couple capabilities. With us, we allow you to do that capabilities and bring these users over. It's proven at scale, and we also help you move those teams. We're used to moving these teams from what they're used to, OpenSearch or Elastic, onto the lake. And sometimes you have to help your team more, sometimes you have to less. It is humans you're moving over, and we're very good at doing that. Sometimes we help them just a couple different dashboards, do a little bit more, and we can handhold them to bring it over and make sure that they're successful and happy as they come into the platform. Now, and we're quite willing to do that. In fact, typically we do a POC, and what we mean by that is come in, we run in parallel. You tell the other team, hey, just check it out. Just run your queries, run your dashboards. If they're happy, then and only then do you turn off their environment. And we can help you as a team migrate those users and make sure they're happy and successful. Anyway, thank you very much. We have a booth, or you can check us out at chaossearch.com, but I'll be here afterwards. Thank you.